Hello, Tim from Fairplay now on the 1st of August 2023. So I'm looking at YouTube yesterday and lo and behold, a guy who I know watches many of these videos, a guy called Richie. Hi Richie, if you're watching today's video. He comes up, or at least one of his videos comes up in my feed, and he's got this channel, and what he does is he uploads the latest from UK column news. So I'm sure many people, or most people watching me, know who they are, but if you don't, you might remember in my video yesterday I was sort of talking about how useless mainstream media are and how you can't rely on them for proper news. And if you're wondering where can I get proper truthful news from, well, I can highly recommend UK column news. They put out a programme Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and unfortunately they were taken down off of this platform I think about 18 months ago, somewhere like that, around that sort of time, for telling a little bit too much truth that this platform doesn't like. And although I know where their website is and I can easily go and find it and watch their latest stuff, you know, probably like you, my first port of call is YouTube, and I come on here and then I start watching videos and things that are on here, and then I get sidetracked, and then, you know, it's before I know it, rather quite a lot of time's gone by without watching UK column news. So what Richie is doing is recording each issue, which he's entitled to do, by the way. UK column news do say feel free to share their content anywhere you want, basically. So he's totally within his rights to do that, and he records it and he puts it on here. So it's quite a useful service that Richie's offering there to get the latest UK column content onto this platform where it's nice and easy to find. So do subscribe to Richie's channel, and then you can get UK column news each and every time it comes out. And I'll leave a link to yesterday's sort of programme in the comment section below, so you can go along there, subscribe to Richie, and then watch that. And something very interesting, well, they had lots of interesting content in yesterday's programme, but they were talking about something called the Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrate, which basically, from what I understand, is if a lower ranking civil authority thinks that a higher ranking one is acting immorally, unlawfully, you know, putting out diktats which are wrong, quite simply, or wrong. Well, this doctrine says that that lower authority not only has the right, but actually has the duty to not go along or obey those diktats. And if necessary, they can actually resist those measures. So I think it's a very, very interesting concept. They talk about it in depth on this UK column news piece, and they also then went on to talk about the state of Michigan in the USA, obviously. And apparently there's a couple of counties there where they've elected basically people on our wavelength into the local whatever they're called, county authority. It'd be, I suppose, the equivalent of our local councils. And these guys are in there now, and they are starting to use this doctrine of the lesser magistrate to start saying to the higher authorities, like the state governor, well, sorry, we think you're a tyrant, basically, and we're not going to be putting up with you. And these higher authorities apparently are getting pretty scared and worried by it all. So a very interesting development, and well worth watching the yesterday's UK column news to catch up with that. Now, I know in this country we've got one or two places where councillors have been elected who are kind of stand in the park people and this kind of thing. There was a guy in Thetford who got himself elected into their council, and once he was elected into there, he then basically got that council's plans for 15-minute cities in that area to be scrapped. So this is possibly a way forward. I know some people watching this video might say, well, it's playing along with the system, that's no good, we've got to be separate from the system. Well, if you can get into the system and change it, that's going to be a lot easier. I would have thought it's not an easy option, don't get me wrong, but it's a heck of a lot easier than setting up something totally new and trying to get that to gain traction. And a lot of these local councils, it doesn't really take many people, many votes or voters to get yourself elected. You're only talking about a few hundred votes, really, in a lot of cases, and that's enough to get you elected. So now that our movement is growing in numbers, these goals, local government sort of goals, are quite achievable. So maybe that is a little way forward for us, and it's certainly worth looking into. But you might want to check out that article from UK Column News. I think you'll find it really interesting. So, talking of local government, one thing that I think, well, one way I think that we can sort of combat the powers that shouldn't be, the globalists, is, well, we can really go against what they want. And what do they want? Well, clues in the name, globalism. One world government is their eventual aim, along with the tyranny that will go along with that. So if we're going to oppose them, what do? Well, we just go the other way. They want globalism. We should go local. We should decentralise. We should make everything as local and decentralised as possible. Everything, and I'm talking about everything from government, local governments, who should have the most power. National governments should only be admin bodies, really, to oversee the whole lot, and really they're only to deal with foreign policy, really. And local power should be with local people and their local councils, with the likes, ordinary people like you and like me, getting ourselves elected into those positions. And then that can kind of localization, decentralization can spread out into all sorts of areas, of everything from medical care to food production to energy. It all used to be localized, so why not just go back to this kind of localization? And that way, it's very much harder for these globalists, these, whatever you want to call them, powers that shouldn't be, these very rich sort of billionaires. It's a lot harder for them to control, gazillion little local authorities all over the place, and a zillion small businesses who are providing all of our needs, all of our local needs, than it is for them to control a relatively few sort of number of large corporations, large businesses, and large governmental bodies. So that is maybe a way forward. And I'm going to be maybe changing the focus of this channel a little bit, so that I'm perhaps concentrating more on solutions than on the problem, which after all we all know what the problem is now. And I think people just probably getting a bit fed up with hearing about the problem all over and over, and they're starting to look for solutions. So I'm perhaps going to, not all my videos, but I'm going to start doing a few more videos where I'm talking to people, I'm looking into things, and I'm looking into solutions out of the sort of mess we're in. So, gonna leave it there. Do check out Richie's channel, subscribe to him, and then you'll get the latest from UK Column News every time they put out a programme. And I'll leave a link to their latest from yesterday in the description box below. So go and check that out, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.